Hello and welcome back to another week's video, and today I'm sharing with you my favorite method of joining ends in your knitting so that you get beautiful fabric every time with no knots and no visible yarn joins. So let's get directly into it. So in knitting this stockinette swatch, I am approaching the end of my yarn and I will be connecting a contrasting color yarn just so that everything is more visible. And I wanted to pinpoint one thing. So one disclaimer I want to make is that this joining method is useful for those yarns that are made out of multiple threads, so 2-ply, 3-ply, 4-ply, and so on. So you cannot use this method if you, for example, use a yarn that looks like a chain. For this example, I will be using cone yarn, so it is composed of multiple strands held together, but those are not twisted. But normally you will have your yarn twisted like this. I have here a cotton acrylic blend and I will be just using it just as an example. So what you want to do with the yarn that you have, as you can see, the fraying edge, you can already see that it is made up of multiple strands. So what you want to do with this kind of yarn, you want to untwist it until you get the different individual yarns visible. Can you see how I can now separate those with my fingers? This is what you want, and this is how you will separate your yarn. So one more step to what I will be doing, you will need to untwist your yarn just like that, and you will be able to identify all of those individual strands. But I'm using cone yarn here, so my yarn is not twisted. As you can see, it consists of 6 individual threads. So now let's get into connecting the new yarn. So what I will be doing, I'll just knit a few stitches. And I want to get to a point where I have a tail of around 15 centimeters or so. Mine is just a little bit longer, so I'm just gonna cut it right about here. So here is my tail. Now I will need my new yarn. So the pink yarn is the one I will be connecting, and this beige one is the one that I was using before. So what I am doing is I will be separating this yarn in two, and those two parts should be equally the same. For example, if you work with a 3-ply yarn, you might separate it into 2 and 1 strand, but I'm working with 6 strands here, so I will be able to separate it into 2 equal parts, and I like doing it with a tapestry needle. So here it is, separated into 2. And with this one, I will do the same, and I will separate roughly the same length of yarn. So around 15 centimeters, 3 strands go into one side and the rest goes into the other. So now I have this yarn split into 2, and I have this yarn that I'm gonna attach split into 2 as well. So what I am gonna do is I am gonna attach one part of this new yarn to one part of the old one, basically any piece. So what I'm doing is I am leaving a tail of around 10-15 centimeters, and I am laying this yarn together with this tail that I have remaining on my finger. So I have this strand that goes towards the ball with yarn, and I have 2 tails just here at the back. And now I'm basically gonna knit with 3 strands, so with half of the old yarn and half new one, and I'm gonna do around 4 or 5 stitches just as I normally would. And now what I will be doing is I will be identifying that old thread. This is the one, this is the only tail that we have, and I'm gonna leave it behind my work. And the new yarn, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna combine the two parts that I have created. Make sure you do not have any loose strands in here. So I will continue knitting with my new yarn only, right? So 2 ends I have left at the back, and now I'm just using this new yarn to knit. And here is how it looks from the back. As you can see, I have half a strand of my old yarn here, half a strand of new one, and half and half here where I have connected the new yarn. And what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna knit a few rows just to show you how to secure everything in place. So let me knit a few rows and I will come back to show you how to make this transition as seamless as possible. So if you take a look at it right now, I have beige stitches here in the beginning where I was knitting with only the old yarn. Here I have a few that are half and half, and now I'm continuing with the new yarn. So here is how it looks from the back. We're gonna hide these ends a little bit later, but I'm gonna continue working a few more rows and I'm gonna come back to show you how I finish this transition. I have now worked a few more rows and this is how my fabric currently looks like from the front. This is it from the back. So here is our join right here. So what we need to do right now is we'll need to hide those ends, and to do that I'm just flipping my work upside down so that basically my ends face the start of my work, so the cast on edge. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these so they are approximately the same length so that I can use my tapestry needle. There we go. And now I will be weaving in and securing my ends on the back of the fabric. So I'm threading the tapestry needle with my yarn. Now I'm gonna just pull on these loose ends just a little bit, and now it is time to start weaving in those ends. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify the purl stitch that lays just beneath the one where I have connected the yarn. So can you see I have these two yarn ends on both sides of this stitch right here. So I'll be going inside the one that is one row higher, and I'm also entering the stitch that is on the left and a bit higher. So just like that. Now I will be going in to the next stitch that is right on the right side, and I'm going back into the same stitch of the other row. And now I will be just repeating the pattern. So I am identifying the stitch that is on the right and entering the one that is a bit on the left, like diagonally. I'm not tightening those stitches, I'm just making sure it kind of follows the yarn that I already have. Just like that, you don't need many stitches. That is enough, and I'm just cutting it. Now that I have cut my first yarn, I'm gonna do the same with the second side. And I will be doing this going into the other direction. So here I was weaving in my end to the right, and here I will be doing the same thing, but to the left. So I'm doing the same thing, identifying the purl stitch, this one that is kinda just below the one that I have used to connect. So now I'm just following the pattern, going into the neighboring stitch on the left, and just like that, I am weaving in the second end. Just like that. There we go. Just a few stitches. So here is how everything looks on the back when you wash this fabric. Of course, this end will kind of felt a little bit into the fabric, and you can cut these even shorter than this. But this is how the front looks so far. This is where I have connected my other yarn. These are the 5 stitches that are knit in that combination yarn. I don't think you can see anything from the front, so here is where I have hidden one of the yarns, here where I have hidden the second one. I think you can, yeah, you can actually see it like through if you watch through the swatch, but when you will wear it, you will not see this join, especially because you will be using the same color thread. So there you go. This is the most seamless yarn join that I have found. Can you, I don't think you can see, even the texture is the same. So there you go. The most seamless yarn join that I have found for my knits, and I probably use it 95% of the times, especially when I'm working with multiple strands, so multiple ply yarn. So there you go. I hope this video was helpful, and I will see you in the next one. But until then, happy knitting!